This is how it was baked myself. The reason I do this is because when you buy these pies, you get these trays. The pie comes in the tray, you put it in the oven, you bake it, you put it in the freezer, and then this tray does a lot of wonderful things. First of all, this tray can be used to make fruit crumbles, individual fruit crumbles. I'll be showing you how to do them. The only problem is I'm on my own, I have no cameraman, so the camera is stuck there and I'm trying to demonstrate like that. Right, that's point one. After you've used them for that, you may be able to use them a couple of times for that. You can also pierce holes in them and you can use them to put in this thing here. I don't know if you can see it, I'm just going to zoom in. I'm multitasking, as you can see, and men can't multitask. And you you put them in your steamer in things like this. This is oh I zoomed up too close. Better keep a wide angle. There we have mixed veg, diced swede. We have here kale. Kale, sometimes called everlasting greens. If you've got a garden or even a window box, you plant that and it just keeps growing and growing. You pick it and it grows back again, so you never have to buy another one. So there's mixed veg, swede, kale and broccoli, all put into the steamer, and carrots, just chopped carrots into there. That's basically the setup for that. Now we've got our pie, which we're going to microwave, and I'm now going to make the mash. Now you can do what you like with mash. There's all sorts of things you can do with mash. Now I do it in microwave. I'm stopping filming now. You don't watch me just peeling some potatoes, do you? Mind you, I suppose you lazy devils can go out and buy some of this here ready-made smash that you just mix up with water and that's it. But even then you can alter it. You can put chopped leeked onions in it, spring onions in it, you can put cheese in it, parsley, anything you like really. That's the only way you'll find out what's good for cooking is to try it. And when you eat it, if you don't like it, don't do it again. If you like it, do it again. It's as simple as that. How do you think all these things were learnt out in the first place? Think of the poor sod that ate the first oyster. Anyway, I'm going on a bit. I'm now going to peel the potatoes and then I'll make the mash. Well, I will show you me peeling a potato because there's a bit more to it than just peeling and what's it. Now this is what I do. These things all depend on whether you're one or two people or more. Now, me being one on my own, a great big potato like that, I can either make a load of mash and put some back into the fridge for another day, or what I usually do is cut it up and use some for mash and put back a couple of pieces for roasting the next day. Won't be for me tomorrow, because tomorrow's Friday, and Friday I have a fast food meal which I cook myself. Sometimes I use frozen fish and battered fish, and sometimes I use fish fingers, sometimes I use scampi. The chips sometimes frozen, sometimes I make my own chips. If I make chips, I usually make a lot more than I need and freeze what I don't use. And I have mushy peas with it. Now, when you buy a tin of mushy peas, there's, for one person, it'll do 3 meals. So I'll have pie and mash with the with mushy peas and chicken, then with them, and then I'll use up the rest for something else. Sometimes I'll have an evening meal, scampi and chips with mushy peas. There's nothing wrong with fast food. It's just a case of that you want to mix your diet. You want to have much different things as you can. Now, a lot of people don't like certain things. Well, fair enough. There's always an alternative. So if there's something you don't like, see if you can find another vegetable that you do like that has the same sort of ingredient, the same sort of vitamins that the one you don't like has. For instance, if you don't like sprouts, all the cabbage and broccoli and all those sort of things, they all have similar vitamins and essential trace elements and that in them, so you can, so long as you have something. So I'm going on a bit now. I'm going to peel the potatoes. Now, I don't know if you ladies use one of these. I'm disabled and I get given one of these by social services. They're brilliant. You probably, if you saw my make your own crisps, you'll see that I use that because it cuts thin. And when you peel a potato, you can, if you want, do what I do sometimes, keep the peelings, wash them really clean, although you probably bought your potato without any dirt on it from the supermarket. This came from the garden, and it's dirty, and I've washed it, and I'm going to peel it. I don't know if you can see this. I'll try and get you to see it. Who said men can't multitask? Right, there we peeled it. Now I'm going to chop it up into 3. Can you still see me? Oh, well, I'm going to chop it up into 3 pieces like that. Right. And I'm going to cut those 3 pieces in half. Right, now 2 or 3 of those pieces I'm going to use for roasting, and the rest I'm going to mash. Now I'm keeping 4 pieces. That'll make 2 lots of mash. Right, now I'm going to put that in. Now I'm having awful trouble getting these things. These are getting pretty ropey. These are, you may have seen on one of my other videos, done something like 5 or 6 years ago. It's the same thing, but you can see the colour's faded a bit. They've been used quite a lot. Anyway, this is your mash. You pop them in there. You add a little water. The reason I'm adding water actually is because I'm a lazy sod. I use dried parsley. Actually, I think dried parsley in this case works best. All this dried parsley, which is the one I'm using. This one. Because I'm disabled on the count, I have to get this done quick. Oh, you can't see me. I'm putting the parsley in. Pop the lid on. I usually start off doing it for 4 minutes. Sometimes it may take a bit longer before you can mash it. If you're using fresh parsley, you don't have to do what I've just done. You just put the potatoes in until they're ready to be mashed. Now, I just said 4 minutes. Now, I don't know if you're any good at maths, but I'll do the maths for you. What I've done, roughly anyway. 4 minutes. Call it 5 minutes, all right? That's 1/12 of an hour, right? And 1500 watts is what a microwave uses. Now, that's a 700 watt microwave. Now, that may sound daft to you, but the wattage that it takes from the electricity and the wattage it generates to cook stuff is nothing to do with each other. If you got the instructions for the microwave you bought, it will tell you, it should tell you, they don't always tell you, they should tell you that what the power rating is, and you can calculate things out yourself. If you know what the amperage and the voltage is, all you do is multiply them together and that'll give you the wattage. This is my electronics training coming in. But that's how you work it out, and you can also work out backwards. Now, if you know what the wattage of a piece of equipment is, and your voltage, which is in this country, say 230, 240, to make it easy for yourself, work it out as 250, because it won't make that much difference to the final watts. But what you're trying to find out is what fuse should be in your plug. So if you've got 1500 watts, and you've got 250 volts, you can work out that usually that is about 5. They go 5. So that would be 5 amps would be the minimum you could, the minimum you could use. Any lower would blow. And you can work that out with any piece of equipment. An electric kettle is 3000 watts. Divide that by the amperage and you'll see that you need something like 10 amps minimum, although all kettles are usually fitted with 13, which is okay. Anything with an element in, don't worry about it if you find you've got a 13 amp fuse in the plug. But any electronic equipment, and that includes a microwave, you should not have a 13 amp fuse in it, though a lot of stuff when you buy it, it will. You have to check up to see what the power consumption is. And if you don't know what the wattage is, you can always work it out. Simply remember that amps times volts equals watts, and watts divided by volts equals amps. So long as you know one of those two, do a bit of algebra and you can work them out. But to simplify matters, at 1500 watts for 2 minutes divided by 12, oh, it's nothing, is it? Pence anyway. It's very, very small usage. Hey, if you put it on a gas stove in a saucepan of water and boil it, or on an electric stove and boil it, it's going to cost you a lot more. I worked out something like 7, 8, 9, 10 times more, depending on the equipment. Because some hobs are better than others. I mean, an infrared hob will boil and cook something in less time than an ordinary hob will. Gas is faster again, but then it just depends on what your prices are. The other thing is, a steamer is quite good. They are not that high a wattage. They're higher than a microwave, but not much more. And but they take longer, obviously. But if you work it where you with a steamer where you cook the entire every vegetable all at the same time, it's very easy. And using a steamer, what you want to do is put the things that take the longest in, and put the steamer on, and then add the things like, I mean, I put cauliflower in with the with stuff, and it's taken out before the rest of it's done, and put onto a tray, and I do cauliflower gratin. So there you are. I'm going on a bit again. The microwave was just pinged. We'll now have a look here. Yes, they're ready for mashing. Hey, nice and steaming. 4 minutes. I don't know, 5 or 10 pence. I'm now going to get. I've now got what I use, an olive spread out from olives. I'm allergic to butter, and this is the only thing I can use. I put a teaspoon of this in, roughly. Now here's the marvellous thing about a teaspoon and that on hot potatoes. It'll just slide off with the heat of the what's it. That's that. And next, I should have got this cheese ready before I started, shouldn't I? Always use fully flavoured or mature cheddar for this, because you need to lose less and it works out cheaper. And everybody's saying how much everything costs today. Well, here's a simple way of reducing the costs. Lost my cheese grater. I put it all out ready, didn't I? Forgot. That's what happens when you get to be 74. That's why you learn all these things, you see. That's why the elderly know more. My two problems is the arthritis and the eyesight. 70. That's that. I'm now going to get a ricer. I bet you didn't know that was called a ricer. That's, you can obviously why they called it a ricer, because when you mash something like potatoes it comes out like rice grains. But let's call it a potato masher. Mash. Now you're not mashing your butter, cheese and parsley in there. Little thing we forgot about. Little pepper. Putting in a little bit of pepper and a little bit of salt. You'll probably notice my kitchen, everything is all one on top of the other. That's so that I don't have to move a lot when I do stuff. Anyway, that's all mashed up. Guess what I'm going to do now? Right, now I'm going to get a couple of these trays that are on the last legs, because that's the last stage you use them for. You don't want holes in them until on the last legs, and this is the way to recycle. So you do that, and you divide the mash up into two. Now if you do this like this, the next time you can be really lazy, because you can take this out the fridge and you can by the way, this one is going into the steamer. So I now have in the steamer carrots, that fancy mashed potato of mine, mixed veg, swede, broccoli and kale. I know that sounds a lot. You don't have to have that many. Now while I'm doing that, I'm now going